Daily Trot. I'm Jason Gilbo, J Gilbo 11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J Clay. Taking a look at tonight's 8-game slate over here on DraftKings. We just coming over from the pitcher pod, and there's a lot of high-priced guys, so I think value is going to be kind of important here. But obviously, we're going game by game to kind of break things down.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Imagine if we just did the whole show like rapping. Like we Logan Forsythe is good and stuff. And like broke
it would
down.
take me 3 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the over-under of before I just exit out and let you do the show solo.
Are you? Oh, I thought you were saying you were a speed rapper and you'd get through the whole slate in 3 minutes.
No, definitely not. No.
Okay.
Looking at the Rays and Orioles game here, this one definitely more so on the Orioles side of things. You're looking at Odorizzi. Since last year has on a 333 WOBA with a 1.61 home runs per 9. Obviously, we were talking about the home runs possibly being an issue, and that puts a lot of these guys, especially from the right hand, the side of the plate, in play.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you look at sort of the home runs he gives up, basically one per game, at least this year, you're looking at Trumbo, you're looking at Chris Davis, you're looking at Adam Jones. And then you're obviously looking at Machado. I think all those guys have home run potential tonight and are all worth their price tags. Obviously Machado, the more expensive of the four, but I'm in. If you want to make an Orioles stack, going to be tough to get Bumgarner in there, but I'm okay with it. I think there's a lot of upside there.
Yeah, and I'm looking at more the righties than I am the lefties. All those names that you mentioned. I'm not really looking at a Kim or a Davis or a Pedro Alvarez just because, one, Odorizzi has been a reverse splits guy. He's been tough on lefties, 265 WOBA going back to last year. Not quite that home run pop, but I do think those right-handers are certainly in play. Expensive. They shouldn't get too high of ownership, but they will carry a little bit going into tournaments.
For sure.
So, on the other side of things, the Rays are cheap. They are in Camden Yards. I don't think these guys are bad options. I think they're boomer or bust on tonight's slate. And as you kind of stated on the pitcher pod, there's going to be one or two or three runs kind of going up for the side here.
Yo, give me Jeff Decker, baby. 2K. I'm in. I did it yesterday. Obviously he didn't do much, but at the same time, it's 2K, bro. And his name's Jeff. Are you kidding me? He's the life of the party.
Tillman's been, average against lefties going back to last year, 311 WOBA. Camden Yards, extremely friendly. We saw Dickerson go yard yesterday. 3,100, I'll take a shot there. Even at Longoria, 42 and Forsythe, 36. I did mention Tillman being a GPP play, and obviously these Rays bats have come alongside our GPP plays as well.
Yeah, definitely. When you look at that order, definitely like Longoria, but I don't know that they're stacks. It's just kind of like individual plays. But again, you do mention they come at a good price. So those mid-range sort of tournament, want to make yourself a little different, I think the Rays are a nice way to do it.
Yeah, and mentioning a stack, if you do want to get Bumgarner in a stack in, I think the Rays are the only logical offense to do that with just because of their price tags.
That's fair. Yeah. I like that.
Next one here, you got the Dodgers and Pirates, and this one intriguing more so on the Dodgers side of things here. You have an over-under of 8, Jeff Locke on the hill. For me, you're looking at some of these Dodger bats here. I really like Trace Thompson at 3,800 and Howie Kendrick at 3,800 as well.
Yeah. I'm not even afraid of the lefty, honestly. When you look at a Corey Seager, I don't think he's hit quite a few home runs off lefties this year, so I'm not really worried about that in terms of his upside. Adrian Gonzalez, probably not touching him just because he's a first baseman and there's always better options. But Justin Turner, I'm definitely in on him at this stage. He's just been dominant of late. So even at his more exaggerated price, I'm still in on him.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think 1 through 6, even tossing the Yasiel Puig if you're looking to be contrarian, just because that price tag's a little bit different than what it has been. But overall, I'm with you. I think you can look at really 1 through 6 there. And as far as the Pirates side of things go, their bats are cheap still. Maeda is a quality arm. If you did want to take a one-off to kind of be contrarian it and kind of save some value, getting a name in there, you can. A guy like Polanco 43, if he's in the lineup, he was out yesterday, or McCutcheon 31's still intriguing to me.
Jung Ho, dude. I swapped him out of one of my cash lineups yesterday, and that was pretty upsetting. He didn't really leave much time before he just crushed my soul with that homer there. But I'm fading McCutcheon at this point. It's not a perfect matchup. He is the only good thing about him right now is the price. And I think when that situation happens, yeah, it's okay sometimes, but I just don't see the upside with him right now. So even at 31, I'm probably not going to be touching, even though obviously, I mean, any split you look at from 2015 or 2014 are going to look great for him, So, but I don't think right now is the time to sort of target him at his price.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the matchup's tougher than usual. I mean, we talked about him last night being in an easier matchup and only came away with 5 points. So he hasn't been himself. And I'm not quite sure when he's going to turn around. Not quite sure if he's injured or what's going to happen. But
and again,
really
we're very forgiving on here. We've had some very good comeback stories. We look at our boy Giancarlo. He turned it around. We're willing to put him back in there, but we're going to need to see some results first before we feel some confidence in you, McCutcheon. So give us a call. Let us know how it's going. And then get some gosh darn hits there, pal.
On to the next one here. You got the Mets and Braves. This is a game where you're looking at guys. I mean, this is going to be one of the lowest scoring ones of the night. I'm not comfortable in this Mets offense. I'm not comfortable with this Braves offense. You were hoping Freeman would still be kind of under 43, under 42. 46 against DeGrom isn't something I feel comfortable using, even though he has shown the ability to hit well.
No, I went with the humming through your evaluation. I should have gone with like the WWE or WWF like hype man behind you, like yeah, because I totally agree. It's just not something to target. Even as one-offs, like obviously you like Freddie Freeman, lefty-righty splits, but it's DeGrom, and that's not necessarily optimal. So, yeah, I mean, who knows with this Braves offense right now? They're frisky right now. But I'm still not buying them against DeGrom.
Yeah, I'm definitely not either. I'm moving on from this game. It just doesn't really possess anything that I see viable.
Right.
Astros and Royals here, both
very valuable.
Yeah, definitely. and obviously looking at the Houston side of things, and you're looking at, against Chris Young, really home run prone, definitely in play for me. 1.23 home runs allowed to right-handers since last season. And you look at the lefties, I mean, lefties have hit him hard, 378 WOBA allowed, 2.49 home runs per nine. And you do have some cheap lefty options like a Colby Rasmus or Jason Castro. But outside that, I mean, Marwin Gonzalez, if he's in the lineup, or Luis Valbuena as well. Those are the lefties you can look for cheap to kind of take that home run pop upside with.
Yep. I definitely like that. 1 through 8 in that lineup, I think has potential.
Don't you dare leave out Jason Castro.
I have to leave out Jason Castro. I'm sorry, my man. I love you. You are my favorite player. But 1 through 8. That's what we're going with. Final answer. Plug it in.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they're expensive. I mean, Correa's not the 41 that he has been the past couple of weeks.
Yeah. But I mean, they're all kind of priced up a tad. But I think you can make a
tad.
Listen, I'm trying to get through this, Jason. I've had a rough morning, and
all right, continue, sir.
Okay. So What I'm more getting to is in terms of a stack, it's all the pricing is basically going to add up unless you throw in an Altuve. It's going to all be pretty similar at the end in terms of how much salary you leave. But I do think you can get kind of weird with the Rasmus Gomez Valbuena type of group in the order, because when Chris Young strikes, everyone's getting home runs, so I could see this going multiple different ways. So I would be fine. Normally I'm not, but I would be fine with sort of going with some of the later guys in this order, even at the advanced pricing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And looking at the Royal side of things, I really like their price tags, really 1 through 6, and you can even make a case for some of the back end guys if you need some deeper value. Um, you look at Fires. I mean, since last season, 3.34 well allowed to righties, 1.45 home runs per nine. Guys like Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo Cain, Salvador Perez,
Yeah.
decent price tags there, and obviously Fires. I mean, against lefties, been a little bit better, but still not tremendous. Not a guy to shy away from, and you're getting a lot of those price tags at a reasonable price, and I think they're very cash game playable tonight.
I was gonna say, give me Alcides Escobar at 2,900 in cash. Just give it to me. That's gonna happen. So, obviously, Fires isn't like Chris Young-ish, but he's in the same ballpark. I like Kane at 35, and Perez at 4K. So, I like that whole group really. I would be fine with a full stack there.
Yeah, I do think 1 through 7 they're definitely in play, and especially their prices. I do think with giving the pitchers on tonight's slate, you're going to have to kind of spin down to maybe a second tier and not quite nab a Red Sox offense or a Baltimore offense, and the Royals come in as decent shots.
Mm-hmm.
So next game here, you do have the Red Sox and Rangers, and first thing I noticed when looking at this slate was the Rangers' prices were super low against right there. I mean, a lot of them are very cheap. Is that something that's going to kind of take you in and maybe you'll be like, oh, maybe I'll take some shots here? But
Okay, so yesterday I went through something with the optimizer. We had a rocky relationship yesterday morning, and then by last night I realized I should never question the optimizer. Um, it threw out Mazzara, and a bunch of those guys in those Rangers, in that Rangers lineup yesterday against Price, and I was like, no way, dude, I can't. And I mean, they crushed David Price yesterday. And I think it's going to be more of the same today just because of the reduced salary. I mean, you look at Beltre 2,900, Mazzara 2,700. I think they're definitely tournament viable, sort of like punt plays. I mean, Wright's been good this year, but he hasn't been Bumgarner or Kershaw.
no, he hasn't been Bumgarner or Kershaw, but he has limited a lot of damage. I mean, you're looking. I mean, the only time that I can think back, I mean, is Wright really having a tough outing is the second time through against Houston. Outside of that, I mean, he's been absolutely solid. I mean, maybe you take one or two guys,
Right.
You're looking maybe one or two and just trying to call your shot with a Beltre or a Ian Desmond or something.
Right, that's what I mean. It's not a stack, but I think they're definitely. I mean, Beltre at 2,900. Why not? So that's kind of how I'm looking at that.
Mm-hmm. And on the Red Sox side of things, I mean, obviously 1 through 6
Yeah, I mean,
they're playable again. I mean, you don't need us to tell you that. I mean, yes, AJ Griffin's pitched relatively well, coming back from injury, still in this ballpark. It's tough to fade some of these bats. But given the pricing, I mean, they're not jumping off as must plays for me.
the question is always Ortiz or Hanley, or yeah, Ortiz or Hanley. Tonight I think you go Ortiz even at 1,600 more.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't see myself in cash games having a ton of Sox exposure just because of the pricing.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be my thing. I think they're kind of tournament only because they are expensive. And if you're paying up at pitching, I mean, it's going to leave you desperate, kind of trying to fit those guys in. So I do think you have to make more economical choices.
Yeah, so like when you throw in that Carnes Hellickson little pitching duo, you can throw in that sock stack, right?
Sure, you can. A's
I'm
and
kidding,
Angels
obviously,
here.
guys.
No,
Huh?
no, you're not.
Yeah, I'm probably not.
A's and Angels here. Angels bats, I do like some of them at some of their price tags. You're looking at Overton. I mean, a guy who's coming up. You're looking at the Angels nearly projected for 5 runs. Um, Given the lineup, I mean, Escobar was out of the lineup last night. He'd be a decent value if he sneaks back in. But guys like Pujols and Cron and Giavotella and guys at that back end of the lineup are certainly intriguing against the lefty there.
Yeah, I was looking at Kron. He's kind of in that same Hanley range for me tonight. So I do like that quite a bit. And obviously, if you are paying up Trout's an elite option against Overton. But beyond that, it's kind of tough to tell where the production is going to come from this Angels lineup. I get that the sum of the parts is going to equal 5 runs somehow. But I don't know necessarily where it's going to be coming from. I mean, I like Giavotella a little bit as well, but he's kind of getting expensive there. So I don't know if that's worth the risk.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, he's a guy who I liked last night, but it was at a much cheaper price tag, and he was hitting leadoff. If he's hitting leadoff, I don't mind him. But I think when we move over to FanDuel, he'll be a guy at a price tag that we like a little bit more.
Right.
As far as the, other side of things, I mean, the A's are really nice values for most of them here. I mean, you got a vote at 3.5. Burns, Chris, both pretty cheap. You do have some guys here that I don't mind taking as far as value. I mean, they're cash playable. Chris Davis at 4.7 is a little expensive, but Valencia at 4.3 is not bad.
Yeah, these guys are always sneaky. A's are always sneaky. So I like Vod again. Lefty versus righty splits are always great for him, and he's usually batting high in the lineup in those cases. So you gotta like Vod at catcher. Pretty much every righty matchup. And then I mean Burns and Crisp, I'm kind of out on them in terms of actually rostering them, especially at over 4K. But they're decent options. Probably not going to be touching them though. And then I if I would stack, it would be the 3, 4, 5 there. Even though you're overpaying for Davis, I think it's worth it if you want to get the bulk of that production.
Yeah, I mean, I like Burns at 3.5. He's a guy I don't mind. I mean, hitting leadoff is intriguing. I mean, you look at Chassin and, 354 wobbled out to lefties, 1.55 runs per 9. I mean, obviously Burns isn't a power guy, but you look at guys like Vogt, I mean, that's a big deal. Jed Lowry possibly being a cheap option at 3K.
Yep.
He's certainly intriguing too.
Yeah, definitely like that, Colin. I mean, even if you're getting desperate there, even a Yonder Alonso at 29, if Beltre doesn't sort of suit your fancy, there's another guy at 2,900 for you.
Phillies and Giants, obviously the Phillies are taking out a play here. So look at some Giants guys. I mean, Hellickson's a guy I talked about possibly throwing a relatively quality start tonight. I'm not really targeting him heavily here. But, obviously you can look at some of the bulk of that lineup. But for me, they're a little bit overpriced. I don't mind a Brandon Crawford or an Angel Pagan. Those are the kind of two guys that I'm on just because of price is considered. I'm not really paying up for a Belt or a Panic or Posey on this slate at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. They're just the heart of this lineup's just too expensive for me. Maybe a Brandon Crawford, if I'm feeling frisky, or even a Denard Span, who I'm not normally in on. But other than that, I think they're a little overpriced for me.
Yeah, I think so. And for me, I mean, that game is kind of a wash outside of kind of some of those value back end Brandon Crawford, Pagan type guys.
I mean, I could see the Giants scoring like 6 runs and having nobody over 10 fantasy points. Like that's a really viable option. Just 7, 8 singles and like an error and a stolen base, and then like I don't know. So they're just messy a lot of the time. So that's kind of how I'm looking at that one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And moving on to the last game of the night, the Cardinals and Mariners here. This one's intriguing for the Mariners side. I'm not really looking at too many guys on the Cardinals. I mean, these guys come in. I mean, obviously the ballpark factors are against both teams, but the prices are pretty cheap for a lot of these names. I mean, Leonis Martin hitting up top of 3.6 is intriguing. Even a Nelson Cruz, I mean, 4.2 is relatively cheap for him.
Yeah, no, I like the Mariners tonight. They are reasonable for what they're normally priced. I I'm pretty indifferent on this game in general. I like obviously I'm fading Leak for the Mariners offense, but I don't think Leak's going to get shelled either. I think it's just going to be a few runs and maybe a Cano or a Seager gets a homer, but beyond that, I do like the Mariners as sort of a contrarian stack, but it's going to be tough to fit them in with a Baumgartner or something like that. So it's kind of harder to conceivably fit them in as a stack than one offs, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I do think two or three from this group is really intriguing because their prices are a little bit cheaper than what we've seen in the past. But as you mentioned, I mean, still Cano, Cruz, and Seager are open over 4K are guys that are still going to carry a relatively high price tag in comparison to a Bumgarner lineup.
Mm-hmm.
But a Smith and Martin type guy, a Lind type option are pretty cheap there.
Definitely.
So as far as the Cardinals side of things go, I mean, Piscotty at 3.9 is intriguing. Um,
Yeah.
he's probably the only name
Diaz.
that I really like. Diaz, yeah, 3.9 is not a bad price for him either. Those are the kind of the only names that I see myself using. I can't pay up over 5K for Carpenter.
No, I know. I don't I like that matchup too for him, but 5K is too much. Even if he hits a homer, it's really kind of just like, all right, you hit value now. Now like I got this guy for 3K who got 10 points, you know. So I'm not necessarily in on Carpenter.
Yeah, there's cheaper guys at the position. So
Hmm.
that's going to wrap things up here with the DK Daily Trot. Be sure to check out DailyFantasyCafe.com for all the great tools and content.